getting after it. We're getting after it. We're hot and heavy and coming in swinging on a Monday morning. How you doing, bud? Good morning. It's January 26, 2026, and it is Monday, post-conference championship game. So now the table is set for Seattle Sea Chickens and the Drake May led New England Patriots. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's a Super Bowl. Personally, we were rooting for Sam Darnold to beat up on Matty Stafford over here at Hat and Beard Show last night. It was good to see an exciting NFC Championship game. And then, obviously, I'm not saying it was the lesser of two games, but did anybody, the weather played a big impact on it. But did anybody really think that the Denver Broncos without Bo Nix was really going to put up a fight against the Drake May led New England Patriots with Mike Vrabel in his first year as the Patriots head coach, just sleepwalking right to a Super Bowl? Damn, Tennessee. There you are, standing in your driveway, in your yard, by your mailbox with egg. Damn, Tennessee. Yeah, and to think the guy that you replaced Mike Vrabel with, well, he's already been fired, so... Franchises are going to franchise. One of the franchises, though, that doesn't regularly go through head coaches, well, they made their announcement. After, we'll never really know what went down behind the scenes, but after Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers decided to part ways. Obviously, the Steelers were left in a head coaching search. Well, they landed on their guy. It's a guy whose name is Mike. Right? It's a guy whose name is Mike, and he is a Mick. Since this hiring cycle, we got a lot of Mikes that are Mix. We already got Mikes that are Max coaching in the Super Bowl. So between the Mikes that are Mix and Max, we're going to mix and max our way around to get a Mike McCarthy hired as the Pittsburgh Steelers' next head coach. We'll talk about the Mike McCarthy hiring situation. Gross. It's just gross. I feel the same way about Mike McCarthy being hired as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach as I feel about Aaron Rodgers signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers last year. Gross, weird and gross. But hey, you know what? I guess this also kind of sets the foundation for maybe a McCarthy and Aaron do Rodgers Super Bowl reconnect and run, possibly, maybe possibly, trying to figure out what's going on here. We got one screen going bananas, another screen not quite. There we go. Everything's plumb level and square over here. But trying to set the table, maybe rekindle some magic. We'll know what happens if they go out and sign a guy like Alan Lazard. That obviously the Steelers are trying to recreate some young magic, but not too wild. I don't know why anybody would be too wild about Mike McCarthy. The last time we seen him, he failed in Dallas, right? So, not the type of guy I would hire, but, I'm just a guy talking to you through your phone. Mike McDaniel. Okay, we're gonna Mick and Mac our way around. Mike McDaniel cancels Bill's interview. Seems a little odd, don't you think? So, not to delve too balls deep into this one, but we are going to kind of figure out something's going on in Buffalo, right? Something's kind of fishy with how the McDermott situation. And I, just this weekend, went to a baptism, right? And ended up talking with the pastor of all people about the Buffalo Bills. He's a big Bills fan. And come to find out, Bills Mafia is like, why? What are you doing? It kind of feels like we're kind of in the right vicinity. We are getting over target by saying something fishy about Brandon Beane. Mike McDaniel cancels his interview with the Buffalo Bills. On top of that, Phillip Rivers withdraws from consideration for the Bills head coaching job. You got James Cook. You got Josh Allen. By all accounts, you have a competitive roster. You're a playoff-bound team. What is it What is it with the Bills that now two guys, I'm not saying Phillip Rivers was the hottest name on the market, but teams are kicking the tires on him, all right? They're at least kicking the tires on Phillip Rivers, which meant there's some pedigree there, right? Mike McDaniel obviously was the prettiest girl at the ball for about a week there. Top name on everybody's list, head coaching, offensive coordinator. Here in Detroit, we were all just mentally masturbating over the goofiest show on grass possibility, and then the reality was Dan Campbell interviewed him, was like, hey, man, that's a weird guy, man. That's a weird guy. And then the old little spud there poked his head. He's like, yes, sire, he's a weird man. I don't think he would work out so well. And Dan Campbell's like, oh, hey, man. You know, you look kind of like a penis, man. He's like, yes, sire, I know that I look like a penis. I've heard it my whole life. Can we move on with things? He's like, oh, I like this, man. You're not a weird fucking goofy guy like that Mike McDaniel bastard. He's a weird fucking guy, man. But everybody, even the weirdo Mike McDaniel down to Phillip, I have no real high-end coaching experience, right? Also turning down the job. So something is weird in Buffalo, and not for nothing. With the way they handled the McDermott situation, you missed out on a good handful of guys, right? There was a good couple of names, the Stefanskis, the Harbaughs, you know, they're gone, bro. They ain't even there. So now you're down to the next tier of guys, and if we're reading the tea leaves, it looks like not an ideal landing spot for candidates. I mean, McDaniel and Rivers are like, yeah, no, I don't want to work for Brandon Beane. That guy is a moron. Yep, that's my take on it. And then, obviously, we will talk Detroit Lions. Lions met with multiple draft prospects at the All-Star Games, including one of the draft's top left tackles. Ooh, some of you are going to be so happy the Lions had a chance to talk to Caden Proctor. Yay! Hooray! Go get the guy that none of us know is really going to work out for the Detroit Lions. Yes. Let's all navel gaze a little harder at the idea of Caden Proctor. Because, well, he's big. He's huge. He looks like he's the size of Dan Skipper. Yeah, he's got the mentality of Jalen Carter. I'm good. I am so good. But we'll see who the Lions talk to and just kind of get a... let's be honest, this is our initial kind of attempt at putting feelers out to kind of start to read the tea leaves for what the idea is, what position rooms we're going to kind of need to address. We know, we see the product on the field every week. We know what needs to be addressed. The question is will Brad Holmes and his big Yaku brain figure out what needs to be done? You know, but we'll see kind of some names and some possibilities. It's nothing that is really going to knock your socks off. It's not top-end prospects. Let's be real, guys. The majority of your Senior Bowl guys aren't going to be your high-end first overall pick guys, right? They're going to be your day 2, day 3 guys. A lot of character dudes, really gritty, grind-them-out dudes, guys that we should be after. I mean, look, dude. Yes, we talked to Caden Proctor. Fucker didn't even play. So what does it really even matter? But now that we've had a 10-minute long opening monologue, if you guys could do me a rock-solid favor, could you... subscribe to the channel if you're new here. It's the only way for you to be able to engage in the chat. Ring that notification bell so you can be notified every single time we go live, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. with Never Gonna Change. We're never going to change, guys. We're never going to get out of this 10 to 11 a.m. block because Friday at 9:48 in the morning, I already got my rejection email for the job that I interviewed for on Wednesday that I dare to even call an interview because, well, I showed up 15 minutes late. They were 45 minutes, or I showed up 15 minutes early. They were 45 minutes late. Never asked me a single technical question. And by the fact that I got a rejection email 47 minutes after the start of business on Friday means that you had already determined what you were going to do with that route. But hey, you know what? It's all good. Why would you take a guy who's grossly overqualified for the job, realizing it, and possibly getting a lot more for your dollar? Hey, you know what? Don't worry about that. Fuck you. We're going to just not. So, that was fucking great. I love having my fucking time wasted. Oh, do I love having my fucking time wasted. They were 45 minutes late for the interview. And then the manager that I was supposed to interview with, well, he didn't even show up until half an hour after we started the already 45-minute late interview. Never asked me a single technical question. Boy, is that awesome. I love having my time wasted. Love having my time wasted. So all that to say, guys, well, you better expect us to just sit our happy ass here in the 10 to 11 a.m. block from now until Kingdom Come, because it's never going to change. Never going to ever going to change. Nothing's ever going to change. We're always going to be stuck in this faking gay loop, y'all. Woohoo! Can't wait. So share this around with all of your friends. Now that's all the way. We're going to roll credits. I'm going to blow my nose real quick.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
Shout out, Jack. Should have worn my pride flag pin to the interview. Yeah, dude, what I should have done is I should have just walked in there and been like, I identify as the individual who's going to get this job. I identify as the only candidate that you're going to hire, and just tell them and just live on that. That recently, I've been trying to play the game at work whenever they want to get fucky with me, since they do openly admit that they practice DEI. Recently, my new play is to been I identify as the individual who's correct on this subject. There you go. Bingo, bango, bongo. You win the argument. I identify as the individual who's correct on this subject. And that's the period point. And that's the stone cold truth. Shout out. Actually, guys, shout out. I'm not going to lie. I definitely stayed up until like 1:30, almost 2 in the morning this morning, watching wrestling documentaries. And it was awesome, dude. It was awesome. And that's the stone cold truth. It started, I watched one about China. What an absolutely just terrible just fall from like the highest echelon of wrestling. Dude, China got fucked, dude. That poor woman, she had a terrible fucking fall, dude. And really, when you look at a lot of these guys, they just go through it in their post-wrestling career. It is rough. Now, I will be honest. I finished with last night. I finished with the Stone Cold documentary, which is pretty cool. But you know who's really, really interesting? Who's a really interesting person? Oh shit, I can't remember his name right now. But it's the guy. It's the guy behind the mask. Kane, the guy who is Kane. That dude has a crazy story. He's a fucking mayor now of like Nashville, Tennessee. That's wild, dude. That's wild as hell. And like he just seems like a real, like, considering the character that he played on screen, he's like such like a gentle, like calm, chill dude. You know what I'm saying? Like it was really cool to see. So I just kind of something a rabbit hole I fell down. But over here we got Labriola on why it was Mike McCarthy. It was Mike McCarthy all along. Oh, and he would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddlesome kids. It wasn't strictly because he's a Pittsburgh Steelers guy, brought to you by Carl's Jr., nor was it simply a matter of his reputation for developing young quarterbacks into NFL winners, brought to you by Carl's Jr. He wasn't excluded because he's 62, because Andy Reid is 5 years older and Sean Payton is only 49 days younger, and his team played a home game for the 2025 AFC Championship. On Saturday, January 24th, Mike McCarthy, brought to you by Carl's Jr., was hired to be the Steelers head coach. To be the fourth man to hold the job since 1969, very nice. And while President Andy Rooney II acknowledged McCarthy's roots and resume were contributing factors in the decision, and that age was not a deal breaker, it came down to the belief that he was the right man for the job in today's NFL. I say he's the right man for the job. I say I made a rule named after me in the NFL to elevate minority coaches. And then I hire Mike McCarthy. looks at it through my monocle. The process began with Zoom calls and progressed to in-person interviews. That was probably the first part. A Zoom call. Can the boomer operate Zoom? If he can operate Zoom, then he's probably going to be our top-end candidate. And progressed to in-person interviews, all of which had to be conducted in accordance with the league's rules for candidates whose current teams were involved in the playoffs. Then there came a natural break. Did they want to continue, expand the search, or did they believe they found their man for the job? McCarthy was offered, and he accepted, brought to you by Carl's Jr. He is someone who has a long track record, a longer track record than many other candidates. A winning track record, said Rooney. Well, yeah, so did Mike Tomlin. Okay. He's been a winner everywhere he's been. Well, I wouldn't go that far. Probably just as important for our purposes. The quarterback that he worked with have all been very successful. He has a proven track record of developing top-flight quarterbacks. Those are the things that might stick out the most. Did he really, though? I mean, excuse me. There we go. Aaron Diddly-Doo Rodgers sat, right? Jordan Love sat. Was that a Mike McCarthy thing, or is that just kind of how the Packers are doing business? It seems to be more of a Packers thing than a Mike McCarthy thing. And then I have a really hard time saying that he developed Dak Prescott, considering he was given an already, at that point, veteran Dak Prescott, an already well-established Dak Prescott. It wasn't, oh, can he develop this third-round pick guy? No, dude, Dak was already Dak. You know what I'm saying? By all intents and purposes. So he just kind of inherited an already existing Dak Prescott. You know, I don't think he really developed him per se. Since Ben Beisenberger retired at the end of the 21 season, the Steelers have been unable to find a successor at the position. They drafted Kenny Pickett in the first round. They traded for former first-round pick Justin Fields. They re-signed their former number 3 pick, Mason Rudolph. Former number 3 pick. Was he a third? Regardless. And they briefly did business with the veteran free agents Mitchell Trubisky, Russ Wilson, and Aaron Diddly-Doo Rodgers. Since none of those options resulted in the team winning the playoffs, the Steelers are still looking for their answer. Because McCarthy worked with Rodgers in Green Bay and Dak Prescott in Dallas, has 174 regular season wins, and owns a Super Bowl ring, his resume suggests he was what the Steelers need. We wound up bringing in 3 guys for in-person interviews, Brian Flores, Mike McCarthy, and Anthony Weaver, and then we sat down and talked about whether we had our man or if we wanted to bring in more people for in-person interviews, said Rooney. We decided that Mike was the man for the job, and we went ahead and offered him the job on Saturday. Now all that we do is we just sit and wait for Brian Flores to file a lawsuit against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's, I can understand why teams wouldn't want Mike or Brian Flores, right? We laid that all out for you a week or two ago. You don't want to bring that circus into an organization that prides itself on being suit and tie. You know, this will be their, 4th head coach in franchise history since 1969. Do you really want to bring in, or, let's look at it this way. Let's look at 3 candidates the Steelers could have been. Now, we're not going to look at these 3 per se, because Anthony Weaver was never a realistic option. Let's look at Mike McCarthy, very vanilla, very well-established, calm, Super Bowl winning pedigree. You know what you're getting with Andy Rooney. You know what you're getting with Andy Rooney. Well, I tell ya, the quarterback position just needs to be more in the pocket. I don't like when my quarterback rolls out of the pocket. The plays are designed to be a pass play, not a running play. If I wanted to have a running play, I would have the quarterback turn around and hand the ball off to the running back. If any of you know who Andy Rooney is, that was a pretty good Andy Rooney take right there. But so you had Brian Flores, Mike McCarthy, and let's say let's just for shits and giggles throw in a Mike McDaniel, the goofy bastard from Miami, right? And Rooney, they're interviewing him. They're like, all right, 3 options. Goofiest show on grass with Mike McDaniel? Yeah, no, he's a weirdo. We're not going to talk to him. Brian Flores. That meets our standard. We interview a minority coach for the opening. That meets my own rule. And but now, do we want to bring in all of the media circus? Because the minute Brian Flores is announced as the head coach, the story comes back. The lawsuit comes back. All of this shit comes back. Do the Steelers really want that? Considering they already have a little bit of eyes on them with the Mike Tomlin situation, they're sitting here saying, hey, 20 years of a winning record with no Super Bowls is not good enough. Playoffs be damned. Division championships be damned. Super Bowls are what gets us there. We need to win, and we need to win now. I need to not have a circus around us. We've been dealing with the quarterback situation for 2-3 years now. Right? Really, 5 years, ever since, like I said, since Beisenberger left. We need stability. We need calm waters. Let's hire the most vanilla, calm, cool, collected guy that we can think of. Mike McDaniel. Or Mike McCarthy. Great job. Great job. You know what I'm saying? We decided blah, blah, blah. I don't really care. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. I think I told you exactly what this article is going to say, and that is they wanted vanilla pudding. They didn't want an exciting dessert. They didn't want questions around it. They wanted something just, So they went to the retirement home and dug up Mike McCarthy. How do we feel about that, Mad Hatter Nation? Glenn Jacobs. There it is, Rick. There you go, brother. That's the guy I was trying to remember his name, dude. I was trying to remember his name. There, Knoxville, Tennessee. Yes, sir, Jack. He's the mayor of Knoxville, dude. There are a couple of wrestling legends who do a lot of Christian films. Hell yeah, dude. Hell, that's awesome. Is Rogers going to stay with the Steelers? What's up, DC and Prey? I was wondering, or DCA and Prey. I'm sorry, dude. I was wondering that same thing. When I read that article, I was like, well, the first question everyone's going to have is do diddly-do Rogers going to stick around with Mike McCarthy? Or is he going to fucking retire or go to Minnesota? I think Aaron Rodgers should go to Minnesota just to troll everybody. Oh, he's played much better in other places. Steelers OC and assistant coaches have been their problem more than the mid-level QBs. I will agree with you, Jack. Arthur Smith is a terrible offensive coordinator. Shout out Arthur Smith. Did you guys see where he landed? He's the new offensive coordinator for the Ohio State University. Look for their tight ends to get a lot of run. Flores filing a suit on the Steelers would be comical. He couldn't look like a bigger POS. Exactly, Rick. And that's what I'm like. I'm waiting for it. Andy Rooney doing play-by-play would be hilarious. Hell yeah. And he hands the ball off to the running back. Oh, gallops to the left side of the field. Now, I don't really like it when you go off left tackle, you see, because you have a heavy set to the right side, so when you have more men on the right side, it only makes sense to win the matchups. You're trying to play 4D chess. It's football. You got to keep it simple, stupid. You want a low production, and then you would terminate over performance. You want to get sued for racism right after you hire Flores. Goes, exactly, dude. Then I'm your guy. 100%, brother. 100%. That's why I'm like, people aren't going to hire Brian Flores. When he was getting all the run, Brian Flores, is he going to, his contract's up in Minnesota. I'm like, dude, nobody's going to hire him. Nobody gave Colin Kaepernick an opportunity because nobody wants that bullshit. This is, I think, the real issue people have with the NFL is it's so fake and poserish, They sit there, fucking DEI, and it takes all of us, and blah, 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 blah. The reality is it's a business based on meritocracy. So quit pretending that it's not. Just win, baby. Just win, baby. That's all it is, man. That's all it really comes down to. It doesn't come down to your personality. It doesn't come down to the color of your skin, what God you worship, blah, blah, blah. What it comes down to is, do you win or do you lose? Because if you win, you put money into the system. If you lose, you're not making the system any money, and you got to go. You got to go. You got to go, got to go, got to go. Got to go, got to go, got to go right now. Brian Flores, not a winner. Colin Kaepernick, not a winner. Okay? Then if you're not a winner, if you're not good, you can't overcome the off-the-field issues. As much as I hate to say it, because of the athletic pedigree of like Henry Ruggs, that's why Henry Ruggs gets rumored options when he gets out of prison. Do I think he should? No, fuck no. You guys know how I feel about Henry Ruggs, dude. But my point is that if you are a 1% of the 1% of 1% athletes, we're talking 16 guys out of 200. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes You can have enough athletic pedigree to overcome the bullshit. You can win enough to overcome the bullshit, right? Brian Flores, you're not winning enough. You don't have that pedigree to overcome the bullshit. That's why you won't get an opportunity to be a head coach in the NFL, because you can't overcome the bullshit. Do Rodgers and Stafford retire at the same time? Seems like one of them has to ride it out another year for the Hall of Fame purposes. Rick, man, I wanted the Lions to hire Arthur Smith just so we can watch heavyweights clash out. That's awesome, dude. Dude, the heavyweights would crash. I would crash out if we hired Arthur Smith, dude. You don't come out of prison in football shape. Damn straight you don't, Rick. Damn straight you don't. You come out a little loosey-goosey. There are better odds for me watching the Super Bowl halftime show than Brian Flores ever becoming head coach, and that's insane. Yeah, shout out you guys. I'm just kind of assuming y'all are kind of with me on this. I'm not watching that halftime show, dude. I'm not watching the halftime show, dude. I'm clicking off that shit. There's no fucking way I'm supporting that anti-American communist fucking loser, dude. Fuck that guy, dude. So Mike McDaniel cancels Bill's interview, right? Now, I wanted to bring that up because former Dolphins head coach will interview for the Bills head coaching job unless he won't. Per reports, McDaniel canceled Friday's interview with Buffalo, which is seeking a replacement for 9-year head coach Sean McDermott. Given McDaniel's propensity for verbosity and Wednesday's never-ending press conference featuring Bills owner Terry Pegula and GM Brandon Beane, maybe it's a good thing. Once the three of them started talking, who knows when it would have stopped. McDaniel opted to not go through with his second interview for the Browns head coaching job. It was later reported the Chargers plan to make him their new offensive coordinator. Why would McDaniel not go through with a head coaching interview? Such situations are both rare and ripe for all sorts of speculation. If it is as simple as he doesn't view a given job as an ideal spot for his next shot, which could be his last one, at a team of his own, it's one thing to pass on perennial dysfunction Browns, but the Bills with Josh Allen, that's the kind of thing. It's like, dude, if you have the option to coach a league MVP, that's kind of identified as a relatively good job to have. Maybe after digesting Wednesday's press conference and the widespread reaction to it, McDaniel realized it's a no-win situation, since the primary expectations will be to win enough games to get to the postseason and to win more than one game once he gets there. In Cleveland, there's nowhere to go but up, but there's no clear reason to think an ascension will happen under current ownership. In Buffalo, there's nowhere to go but down, and there's every reason to think that will happen under current ownership. Again, dysfunction flops from the top. McDaniel already worked for one of those teams. For his next head coaching job, it becomes critical to find a stable organization in which the owner stays out of the way, i.e. not Cleveland, and doesn't make rushed, illogical decisions in the heat of the moment, i.e. not Buffalo. So basically, we don't have a clear and concise answer. All we can do is put together information. Why would Mike McDaniel cancel an interview following this very... at a certain point, was the press conference that the Bills had, was it a fucking press conference or was it just a podcast? Because it was just two dudes just yammering on and on and on and on. And knowing that Mike McDaniel, look, dude, if you take a head coaching job now, it is this, you have to win. Otherwise, it's never going to happen again. That's why we kind of said Mike McDaniel should take a back seat and reestablish himself and take a pick of the litter job, not whatever comes available. You put these two things together and you start to go, all right, well, something's going on in Buffalo, right? There's got to be something going on. The Sean McDermott firing was just a little too weird. The elevation of Brandon Beane to president of football operations, also weird. Oh, excuse me. I got the burps like a motherfucker right now, y'all. There we go. And then you couple it up with this. Also from Pro Football Talk. Phillip Rivers withdraws from consideration for the Bills head coaching job. Okay. What the hell's going on in Buffalo? What is going on? Is there something in the water? Are there wind? Oh my gosh, I figured it out, dude. It's because they're frying their wings in too many seed oils. They're too soy, dude. They don't have any soy blockers. They're the Buffalo soy bills. You guys got to quit frying your shit in seed oils, yo. Dude, they got too much soy. That's what it is. Too much soy going on in Buffalo, dude. Oh, Brandon Beane's a soy boy. Brandon Soybean. It's right there. It came to me in a dream, yo. Philip Rivers. And I mean, that's saying a lot, that there's so much soy that even Mike McDaniel was like in his high waters, like, no, I don't want this job. So now it totally makes sense. They're too soy. Philip Rivers, y'all, come on. Philip Rivers is based as fuck, dude. Philip Rivers, based AF. Of course he's like, brother, what's that? What's that, brother? When he watched the press conference, that was Philip Rivers, dude. He was like, they're so soy. They're so soy. Even Mike McDaniel doesn't want the job. I'm good. I'm straight. I'm good. I'm going to go bang my wife. That's what Philip Rivers did. He's like, I'm going to go bang my wife. That's Philip Rivers will not be following up his unlikely return to the NFL as a player with an unlikely move to the sidelines in Buffalo. Diana Rossini of TheAthletic.com reports that Rivers has withdrawn his name from consideration for the Bills' head coaching job. Rivers interviewed with the team after they fired Sean McDermott last week, and he said, brother, what's that? What's that, brother? Rivers came out of retirement to join the Colts for the final weeks of the 2025 regular season, but was unable to win any games, and the Colts were eliminated from playoff contention. He said his plan was to return to coaching his son's high school team before the Bills offered a chance to dip his toe into the NFL coaching world. They said, hey, buddy, come on over here and enjoy the soy. And he went, I'm going to go bang my wife. I'm based as fuck. Had the Bills hired him, Rivers would have been the third person to land an NFL coaching job without any prior pro or collegiate coaching experience. That could still happen if Rivers could try a more conventional entry point to the bid to become a head coach at some point in the future. So there's no speculation then. No more information. Let's refresh this. No more information? Come on, dude. Yep, no more information. That's it. That was it. That's it. That's all of it. That's it. Come on, guys. Come on, man. Josh Elper. You got to do better, Josh Elper. When the bar at PFT is Mike Florio questioning the narrative and putting out hardline questions from the media, doing actual reporting work, I expect more out of Pro Football Talk. This was way too... I would like a little bit of speculation, a little bit of information here. All this is he's withdrawn his name. Well, let's kick it on over to Diana Rossini. Oh, she's got it over on X. Yeah, of course it's over on X. No actual link. Philip Rivers is out of the head coach sweepstakes after viewing with Buffalo. That's it. That's all the news. Well, that was a little bit of a letdown. But all this to say, something's going on in Buffalo, right? Chat, how do we feel about that? How do any of you guys got any inside information on Buffalo? Looks like Buffalo's cooked. I'm not watching a dude in a dress. Hell yeah, dude. Exactly, dude. Bro, legit. I'm not watching a dude in a fucking dress, dude. F the halftime show, hell yeah. No way we watch the halftime show, hell yeah, Mom. Do you just assume it's gender? Yeah, I sure did, Mr. Detroit City. I'm not watching the halftime show. I hope they break records for at least watch in history. Dude, Jack, that's the beauty of the free market, dude. We get to speak like that, dude. We get to speak with our dollars. McDermott called out the Bills GM. You know you can hurt their ego. Yeah, dude. McDermott, dude, and I'm willing to bet, like, I don't know enough about Sean McDermott, but when you look at the way he conducts himself in interviews, when you watch his body language, I'm willing to bet that Sean McDermott is a well-respected individual in coaching circles. And I'm willing to bet that Mike McDaniel and Philip Rivers have it within their capacity to, I don't know, pick up a fucking phone and call, text, email, send a carrier pigeon, smoke signals, something, anything, fucking Pony Express. And Sean McDermott was like, yeah, you don't want to work for these guys. And they're like, yeah, we're good. I'm straight. Totally good. We don't want this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm willing to bet that Sean McDermott has a lot more sway behind the scenes on the reality of what's going on in Buffalo. And unfortunately, he'll never tell everybody the truth of the matter. We'll never know. McDermott, even if all 10 of Rivers' kids said that press conference was like, Exactly, Jack. That podcast press conference. Brandon Bean just likes the sound of his own voice. McDaniel would be sweet arena league coach. Dude, Mr. Detroit City, and that's the other thing that I think a lot of us aren't really thinking about, because, I haven't talked about it. I will give credit. There's a little bit more advertising, but the league has to stabilize a little bit. These guys, the Mike McDaniels, the Kafkas, the Phillip Rivers, these cusp head coach coordinators, right? We'll just say head coach coordinators because they're established as coordinators. With Mike McDaniel especially has head coaching pedigree. Kafka has interim pedigree, but they're kind of cusp guys. This is where a partnership between the UFL and the NFL would be incredibly beneficial, right? Because we've seen some players be able to parlay, Jacob Sailors, Big League Jake Bates, even a couple quarterbacks were able to have a few games, PJ Walker. Why are we not encouraging these cusp coaches to maybe dip their toe in the spring league for head coaching? You have a condensed season, an opportunity to experiment, to feel out the head coaching nature, right? Maybe work through some stuff and really test it out. Why are we not encouraging more of these coaches? Because not only would it give them a better opportunity with a slightly lesser microscope on them, but that lesser microscope, be it smaller as is, bringing in a better, more well-established coach from the NFL ranks increases that size of the microscope. It makes the USF or the UFL just a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? And I personally do, is disappointed I am, as disappointed as I am in the Michigan Panthers organization leaving Michigan and no longer being here. I do advocate for the spring league to be successful because I am a football junkie and I like my little spring methadone. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit to get me over the hump. Is the product great? Not great, not terrible. It's getting there. It needs more dollar dues, more eyeballs, and more push behind it. If you could get more coaches from the NFL to come over a little bit, to lend their expertise, to try and elevate the product through good coaching, it's a mutually beneficial. The product wins, the league wins, the fans win. Does any of that make sense? Coaching high school over the Bills. Hey, yeah, that's the other thing, dude. Think about that. Brent, think about that narrative, dude. He's literally now, okay, hang on. Pump the brakes there, hat and beard. Because, yes, I can sit here and say, he's taking a high school head coaching job over being a professional head coach. But high school football is the single greatest sport on earth. It is the most pure form of football. It is purely for the love of the game. It is the best time a young man can have in their life. I advocate for every young boy to play, even if you're not a starter. The camaraderie, the gamesmanship, being a part of a team, dude. High school football is the single greatest sport on the face of the earth, in my opinion. So, yes, it is funny that he's willing to take a head coaching job, but considering how based Phillip Rivers is it not infinitely more based that he takes a high school head coaching job? Like, Phillip Rivers is like low-key MAGA AF, dude. Oh, the ownership is trash. Hell yeah, it is, Derek, dude. Josh Allen needs to get out. And that's what I was saying in the show Friday, and then I said it to the pastor down at the church where they did the baptism. Obviously, Matt Stafford's probably. I don't know. Has Stafford made his announcement yet? Is Stafford out yet? Too soon. Okay, so no news on Stafford. Matt Stafford's an interesting guy. We know that he's a hell of a competitor. Look, I'm going to be honest, all right? As much as I kind of, hop on the Matt Stafford hate wagon, we watched him here for a very long time. We know what kind of player he is. He is a tough competitor. Matt Stafford has that killer instinct, that winner's mentality, right? And a guy who is in consideration for NFL MVP. Personally, I think it comes down to him and Drake May. Knowing that he came a game short, so close. I mean, so close to a second Super Bowl appearance, a better than not shot at winning a second Super Bowl, and solidifying his bid to Canton as a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? Because you can't tell the story of the NFL without Hall of Fame players. That is the first and highest bar of entry into Canton. You couple that with the narrative around the trade with Jared Goff that rebuilt the Detroit Lions, and then you pile on a second Super Bowl. Quarterbacks have a hard time getting in the Hall of Fame without at least 2 Super Bowls. It's very difficult. It's very difficult because you have to be the quarterback. It's not just the quarterback. You have to be the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Matt Stafford's competitive edge is going to let him retire in this way. And if Matt Stafford doesn't retire, then my grandma wagon Josh Allen future is completely dead in the water. However, I mean, me and Matt Stafford are the same age, right? He's 37. And I was like, damn, do I look that old? He ain't looking any younger, man. And the NFC West ain't getting no easier, brother, right? Seahawks are well and on the up and up. Arizona could turn it around. You never know. Has Arizona hired a head coach yet? Because I got a feeling that it's going to be the Clint Kubiak. Cardinals reveals front runner. They haven't hired anybody yet. But I'm pretty sure that the Cardinals are going to poach one of the coordinators away from the NFC Championship teams. Teams like to do that divisional poaching away. They're trying to follow suit with the Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson thing, I would assume. But I don't know if Matt Stafford's competitive edge is going to let him retire at this juncture. Wow, Matt Stafford and I are literally the same age, separated by 2 months. He was born on February 7th, 1988. That's fucking wild as hell. If Matt Stafford does retire, then Josh Allen needs to go on vacation with Sean McVay and work out a trade similar to Matt Stafford. But if Matt Stafford doesn't retire, Josh Allen, I don't know if there's any place really that could get their hands on him that he would be willing to go to. You know, yeah, you could say Miami's, you could say the Las Vegas Raiders of Oakland. You could even look at a quarterback swap between Herbert and Josh Allen, something along those lines. Arizona, I don't know, man. I just think that if there were a route, the easiest route to Josh Allen getting a Super Bowl and out of Buffalo is Stafford retiring, Josh Allen going to Los Angeles sending picks, just rinse and repeat the Jared Goff trade. Does that make sense? But again, you're not going to be sending a quarterback, so that's a little bit more of a big ask. I don't know, man. I just think Josh Allen should force his way out of Buffalo. Buffalo's clearly a fucked up place, dude. And again, I'm telling you, it's probably because of all the soy in their fucking oil that they're frying their wings in, dude. They need to get some soy blockers. Brandon Soybean. It's in his name, dude. There's too much soy, bro. There's too much soy. What do you guys think about that? If he lost it, I could see him walking away, but he knows he is still playing at an elite level and will have another shot next year. I know, man. I know. Hell yeah, Dad. Friday night home football games are the absolute best. Hell yeah, they are. Shout out, Dad. That's what's up, dude. I totally agree. In 2026, you have boys in the freaking high school cheer team. It's not pure. None of it is anymore. Oh, dude, I'm not surprised. That sucks, Mr. Detroit City. I didn't even think about that, but that makes sense. Of course, high school's got boys in the cheer squad, dude. When I was in high school, we had dudes on the color guard, in the marching band waving flags. And we were really clever. We called them flaggots. Jets are a team that need to trade for Josh Allen. Jack, that is a team that needs a quarterback, but you're talking an interdivisional trade for a Super Bowl MVP. Come on, focus, bitch. My camera's all fucked up. Focus. Focus. Focus, focus, focus. Bro, what is going on with my camera? All right, let's see if I can fucking get it to engage. Come on. Come on, camera. Come on. There we go. There we go. There we go. Come on. Camera. Yo. All right, well, apparently it doesn't track my hand anymore, which is a good thing, I guess. It's supposed to be able to do hand tracking shit, but... Vikings, oh yeah, they got rid of Super Bowl QB. Yeah, dude. Bro. How fucking dumb do the Minnesota Vikings feel right now? Sam Darnold, I think. Didn't Sam Darnold... This is going to sound wild. This is going to sound super wild. Sam Darnold, 14 wins record. Yeah. Sam, I'm seeing ghost out there, Darnold made NFL history by becoming the only quarterback to lead two different teams to 14-plus win seasons in consecutive years. That's pretty fucking cool, man. That's pretty impressive. I was never a Sam Darnold fan, dude, but, like, you got to give the guy credits, dude. You know, so glad Stafford is out. Gun Guy, you know, and, bro, shout out Gun Guy. Good to see you, brother. Hopefully you're doing well, man. I am too, dude, just because, like, okay. A small part of me does respect Matt Stafford, right? Because he did spend a lot of time here, and he basically threw all of Calvin Johnson's yards to him. And Calvin Johnson is my favorite player to ever play for the Detroit Lions. Okay? But I am so fucking sick and tired of hearing about Matt Stafford. Because, like, dude, I've said it before. The way the media concocts the narrative around Matt Stafford, basically his entire time in Detroit, he was shoving a football up his ass and farting it downfield. Like, he didn't know how to throw a fucking football until he went to LA. Brother, the metrics no. Like, he threw for 5,000 yards in Detroit, I think twice. Like, come on now, dude. He didn't have a fucking 1,000-yard rusher for like 90% of his career in Detroit. Come on now. But no, that I'm glad that I don't have to hear about Matt Stafford anymore. It's unfortunate because I was kind of that very small part, that part of me that I suppressed when everyone was like, "Yeah, Matt Stafford winning the Super Bowl for the Rams. If the Lions can't win it, I hope it's Matt Stafford. As long as it, fucking shut up." You know what I'm saying? But that small part of me was like, "Hey, you know what, dude? Get your storybook ending, league MVP, win a Super Bowl MVP, go out on top." You know, part of me was like, get your storybook ending, dude, you know, but I'm not very open about that because I am such a contrarian that I'm like, stop with the Matt Stafford love. He could do it in Detroit. He was doing all that same shit in Detroit. It ain't different. It's the same fucking plays. It's the same throws. It's the same throws. Matt Stafford was throwing sidearm passes way before Patrick Mahomes was even in fucking grade school. Like, bro, now just retire. Exactly, dude. Now it just, like, Brent, you know what I'm saying? You guys feel it too, dude. Everyone's just like, "Oh, what's up, Riley? How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. How you doing, bro?" I couldn't do another. Yeah, I couldn't. I just couldn't do it anymore, you know? Tired of hearing about Stafford. Stafford is 5 times the quarterback Goff will ever be. I can't agree with that, Mr. Detroit City. You know me, dude. I'm a Jared Goff stan, bro. I like my butterscotch at quarterback, dude. I like having Butters at QB, dude. My personal rooting for Stafford has nothing to do with the Lions, as it takes satisfaction somehow for the Lions. It's because he's a badass player, and I love watching him play. Yeah, no, for sure, Riley. And that's the thing. It's like I am very vocal about my, I guess people could say, hate for Matt Stafford, simply because I am trying to stand in opposition to the love for Matt Stafford. I do respect the body of work that he did. And really what it comes down to is I hate the fact that he couldn't get... that he did all of the same shit in Detroit that he did in LA, but he never got the respect that he was due in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's the same quarterback. He's doing the same shit. He's still got that howitzer of an arm, can still make sidearm throws. He broke his back and he's out there grinding out. It's like, yeah, dude, remember when he broke his shoulder and still ran down the field to throw the game-winning touchdown with his shoulder? It's done. You remember that? You guys remember that? It's the same guy. It's the same guy. But the media will have you think that Matt Stafford was taking he's a right-handed quarterback. The media would have you think that Matt Stafford, his entire tenure in Detroit, was taking the snap from Frank Ragnow, putting it in his left hand, shoving it up his own ass, and farting it down the fucking field the whole time he was in Detroit. It wasn't until he got to LA and Sean McVay. Oh, Sean McVay. Oh, he's so good. He's so good. He's such a great coach. Yeah, Jared Goff stooped his wife, so, it is what it is. Stafford is a gunslinger, though. I agree with you, dude. I was a big Favre fan. Same with Matt. And that's the thing, dude. That Mr. Detroit City is where I do still appreciate Matt Stafford, because that just purebred gunslinger mentality is not really seen too much in the NFL anymore, and quarterbacks in general, right? As much as I knock Patrick Mahomes, he does satisfy that very hybrid, talented pocket passer with a lot of athletic upside. We'll see how he bounces back from the knee injury. But your just sit back and let her rip. Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, until his shoulder gave out, Drew Brees. Matt Stafford is kind of one of the last true just gunslingers in the NFL. And it's going to be a sad day, because it will probably be the end of an era. I don't think that with the modernization of the NFL that you will see pure gunslingers entering the league. You'll see them transition to gunslinger as their career, fizzles out, as they come to realize that mobile quarterback isn't the best thing for career longevity. Look at Jackson Fart and Dart. Look at Tua Tagovailoa. You know what I'm saying? But the just outright sit back, let her rip. Matt Stafford is the guy, and he has the arm strength, and he's always had the arm strength, where you could take that Bo Jackson, give me 6 inches of daylight, that's all I need, and put that on Matt Stafford. Give me 6 inches of daylight, and I'll fire the ball in there. You know what I'm saying? Matt Stafford's always had a freaking howitzer on him, dude. And to this day, he can still launch it with the best of them. I was rooting for the Sea Chickens, right? I was rooting for Sam Darnold, because good on you, brother. Good on you, Sam Darnold. I don't like you. I didn't like you. I was never a fan of you. But by God, man, talk about just running down a dream, dude. You know what I'm saying? Just going wherever it leads, whether it's to Carolina or San Francisco or Minnesota, and now out to Seattle, dude. You're in a fucking Super Bowl, and you got 80 million reasons why you're in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? But there was still time on the clock, right? And Hat and Boobs and I were watching the game, and she's like, "Oh, so it's pretty much over." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know though." And she's like, the Rams fucked themselves on the timeout. It was a stacked deck. We're talking, if the Rams were to pull that off in the fourth quarter, we're talking the equivalent of climbing Mount Everest naked on your first go with no training, right? That would have been a fucking absolutely mind-blowing comeback, right? With we're talking ticks on the clock. But I said to Hat and Boobs, I was like, "Look, babe, I've seen Matt Stafford do this many times. In fact, I think Matt Stafford actually is one of the top, if not the career record holder. NFL fourth QURTER comebacks. Record holder. Tom Brady. Oh, okay. Yep. Has the most fourth quarter comebacks. All right. Matt Stafford has 39 career fourth quarter comebacks. All right. So he's not top dog, but he's only beaten out by Ben Beisenberger, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady. Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Does Roethlisberger get in the Hall of Fame? A little bit off the field issues. Does Ben Beisenberger get in the Hall of Fame? I mean, by the numbers, yes, but by the personality, but I was like, Matt Stafford has done this. I've seen him do it in Detroit many, many, many times, and I was like, and the thing that people aren't giving Matt Stafford credit for, yeah, he's old man Matt Stafford, 37 years old. I was like, they had like 60 some yards to go, and I was like, I'm telling you, Matt Stafford can still throw that ball out of the. If Matt Stafford wants to drop back and launch that fucker, I'm telling you, he can throw it out of the stadium right now if he wants. He's still got that cannon. And he always will have that cannon, dude. He always will have that cannon. It's impressive. Now, Matt Stafford needs to have conversations with people. He needs to have conversations with well-respected people. Obviously, Tom Brady is probably going to be a little too busy, but Tom Brady would probably be the most influential considering his career longevity. Matt Stafford needs to have a conversation with a guy like Drew Brees. Matt Stafford needs to go and hang out with a guy like Drew Brees. Maybe go play catch with Drew Brees and his son and see what your future is potentially going to look like. You need to have conversations with guys who walked away while they could still walk away from the game. Yeah, Frank Ragnow, Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders. Matt Stafford, he's got 2 or 3 daughters, right? He's a family man. And even though he's out there in California, you got to think about the future, dude. And how much do you want to be a part of it? Because, unfortunately, the reality of the NFL is every hit you're taking 1 second, 1 minute, a year, you're reducing your longevity on Earth, right? And the question then becomes, do you want to be Tom Brady? Do you want to potentially lose everything? Your family, because of a game? Do you have the physical longevity? Tom Brady is a very, very unique individual that he never went through really catastrophic injuries outside of the knee injury, right? But Stafford's got the back, the bad shoulders, broken collarbones in his life, At a certain point, Matt Stafford has to make a business decision. And that business isn't the NFL. That business is his life. So, I don't know. All that to say, I don't hate Matt Stafford. I do respect the body of work that he was able to do. I just got tired of hearing about all the love in LA because it kicked up that whole media marketing bullshit. It just really rubs salt in the wound of Detroit is not a, respected city franchise. Hell, the state is a fucking joke, Vikings shot their cock off. Hell yeah. What's up, Peaceful Craig? First thing I look down, all I see is Vikings shot their dicks off. That's awesome. Goff is a surgeon and doesn't get his receivers hurt. Yeah, he also has some smarter receivers. That was the moment most of us fell in love with Stafford. Yeah, dude, that you're talking that shoulder, Rick? Yeah, dude, that was a Peaceful Craig. Thank you, dude. I appreciate the shout out, man. Shout out to you too, brother. Hopefully you're having a great start to your week, dude. Stafford cheated on his good housewife with a hooker from LA, getting the milk and never came back. I listen to guys like Julian Edelman talk about Stafford's balls from catching them in the offseason training. Yeah, there's a lot of people that said Matt Stafford he seriously throws like one of the hardest passes in the NFL. I mean, if you guys really want to look at Calvin Johnson's fucking fingers, dude. They are mangled from catching fucking bullets, dude. Vikings hate themselves. Yes, they do. They have boys in dresses cheering correlate. Exactly, Mr. Detroit City. Ben did bad things off the field. Don't let him in. That's Mr. Detroit City, and that's kind of the thing. It's like I have a hard time. I am low-key a Steelers fan. It's hard to not. I like Joey Porter. I was a fan of the bus. Personally, I like Cowher. I like Slash, dude. I was like, yeah, Cordell Stewart. Charlie Batch for a little bit. That was weird. Plaxico Burress, right? Santonio Holmes. Antoine Randall, dude, let's go. I like how Ben Roethlisberger played ball on the field, right? I like the way he conducted himself on the field. The problem with Ben Roethlisberger is, by all accounts, he is a piece of shit human being, and just a downright piece of shit human being. And I would vote no. I would not give him my vote to get into Canton. If I had a vote, I would not vote for Ben Beisenberger to ever get into Canton, simply because he is. You don't want to give guys like him any type of like enshrinement that people could look up to, because that they're gonna just idolize the good. They're not gonna tell you the bad. Ben Roethlisberger can't get into the Hall of Fame. You don't do that. You don't let guys like Kellen Winslow Jr. in the Hall of Fame. Darren Sharper in the Hall of Fame. You guys know what they fucking did? Exactly. They're dirtbags. They're pieces of shit, right? You don't let them in the Hall of Fame, dude. It's in the NFL Hall of Fame. The NFL isn't exactly known for protecting the ladies. That's true, Craig. That is 100% true. We've seen him do it with 23 seconds and no timeouts. Exactly, Rick. That was just it, dude. I was like, yo, I've seen him do this. I've seen him do this before. Yeah, dude. Oh, Troy Polamalu, dude. Yes, dude. Man, Troy Polamalu is one of my favorite players, bro. Yep. No. So, all right, guys. So we're all kind of in the same boat on Ben Beisenberger's a piece of shit, and you shouldn't let him in, right? Doesn't want to come home to Kelly. No, Mr. Detroit City. Matt Stafford doesn't want to come home to find the backup quarterback Stuppen Kelly like she did, or like he did in college, because Kelly Stafford has admitted that she kind of cucked Matt Stafford by banging his backup to make him jealous, and it's super fucking weird. I like Stafford when he first came to the Lions. I was living where he went to high school, north of Dallas, too. Oh, hey, American Boxer, shout out, dude. I was one. I know you're down there, kind of in the storm line of it, dude. I was hoping you were all good, dude. I was wondering if we were gonna see you today, dude. You and Kane, dude. Me and Kane have been kind of keeping tabs on you. Keep tabs on you through Twitter, dude. I was making sure you guys are all plumb level and square and doing good down there. I know you all had some stormers, and just wondering about you guys. Not trying to cultivate a parasocial relationship, but by golly, sometimes I'm like, I wonder if they're doing okay. You know what I'm saying? Should the Vikings rename the team to Somali Pirates, Soy Boys, or Domestic Terrorists? I like the idea of the Somali Pirates, the Minnesota Somali Pirates. I like that. I'll take Tebow over Ben any day, on and off the field. Mr. Detroit City. So I'm pretty sure that my timeline is correct. When Tim Tebow was still in college winning Heisman trophies, that's when Michael Phelps was like really busting on the scene, right? Let's look this up. I used to make this argument all the time. And you got to remember that I was not a big Tim Tebow fan. Tim Tebow, Heisman, 2007. Okay, so 07. '06 to 16, or 2000 to 16. So yeah, Michael Phelps, that would have been the 08 games, about the same time Michael Phelps is winning gold medals, right? So my point being is that although I respect Michael Phelps and what he's able to do, because I can't swim to save my life, especially like he can't. People are always the greatest athlete of all time. He's the greatest Olympian of all time, blah, blah, blah. And I would always counter with, yes, he is a insane athlete. But all he's doing is swimming. And not that to take away from swimming, but it's more or less just a few movements. I constantly argued, I wasn't a Michael Phelps fan and I wasn't a Tim Tebow fan, but I would argue with people, I'm like, you guys need to realize that Tim Tebow is a better athlete than Michael Phelps, because Tim Tebow does infinitely more things at the same level and degree of competition and fucking performance that Michael Phelps does in the pool. He's winning Heisman trophies in college, in the SEC, playing quarterback in a very unique style. You know what I'm saying? He was out there running, throwing, fucking doing all of it. You know what I'm saying? And whereas Michael Phelps, yes, we are comparing assholes and elbows here. But I would always be like, no, I think Tim Tebow is actually a better athlete than Michael Phelps, because he does more on the field, play by play than Michael Phelps does swimming in a straight line against the clock. Does that make sense? Excuse me. I grew up near Cadillac and Traverse City. This ain't nothing. Hell yeah, American Boxer. Okay, so you're like, this ain't shit, dude. This ain't shit. Nick Shirley should investigate the Vikings. Probably fishy stuff going on there too. Probably, dude. I used to be an anti-piracy security agent in 2011 out in the Indian Ocean. No shit, dude. That's wild as hell. Alex Hanold is more superhuman than Michael Phelps, period. El Capitan than the building. Wow. Yeah, dude, that's where I used to like, yeah, dude, it's I thought that's who you're talking about. I thought Alex Honnold. Alex Honnold. I thought he was and he does that all free climbing too, doesn't he? He don't use the cables and shit. He does all that free climbing shit, dude. That dude's wild. Have you seen that dude's hands? Bro, it's wild as hell. Alex Honnold hands. Dude, look at this guy's hands. They're just mangled to shit, bro. Ugh. Nope, that ain't him. That's some other dude. Yeah, look at his like knuckles and shit. Just from like jamming them into rocks. So I'm going to guess he's a right-handed guy considering there's more impact and obvious strain on his outward right hand than his left hand. So he's using that for a lot of pivot points and a lot of hanging his weight. And they're fucking huge too. Yeah, like these are his hands compared to like another person's hands. Fucking just smashed to shit, jamming them in rocks and stuff. Bro, cut your fingernails. Come on now. That's gross. We don't care about who we talked about at the thing. Did it Goat Climber? We should just watching videos of him free solo. Dude, I can't watch his videos, man. I watch clips of it. It gives me so much fucking anxiety, bro. Like, it just stresses me out watching that guy free climbing like that. He has a neurological thing where he literally doesn't feel any. Oh, gotcha. So okay. I was wondering that because I feel like he was on Rogan a few years ago and they talked about that. Similar, he's got that similar thing to. I think it's a lot of people, or there's a certain percentage of people that come out of South America, and it's because they're exposed to a certain chemical inside of cat piss that basically like stops their brain from inducing fear. Like they don't, like their brain literally doesn't give them fear. Like they don't feel afraid of things. You know what I'm saying? They're infinitely more prone to do high risk activities. How does Bo always get left out of that conversation though? Dude was a definition of athletic. Dude, Rick, I know, man. I always think about that, dude. You're right. So the reason that I leave Bo, or probably wouldn't have thought about Bo Jackson at the time was, one, I was pretty young, and I don't really like doing generational talent comparisons, because it's the games in general. Bo would know for sure because Bo knows sports. Games change year to year to year, especially decade by decade. So comparing a Tim Tebow to a Bo Jackson, yes, they are both physical specimens, but what they were doing on the field is vastly different based on the levels of competition that they had. Though I do agree with you, Bo Jackson is a very underrated and consistently forgotten about world-class athlete. I mean, motherfuckers forget. There was a whole marketing campaign around Bo Jackson. Bo knows. Bo knows sports. You know what I'm saying, dude? Would-be sensation if Detroit Lions can win the Super Bowl next year. Anyone agree? Yeah, it would be all. Yes, Riley, it would be insane. I would be a happy camper. I've tried drinking cat piss. Doesn't work, just a minute. Well, I'm glad that it didn't work, Mr. Detroit City. Maybe don't try that, bro. Oh, yeah, dude, it would be awesome, dude. Not really, but I've heard the same. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, so we're 11-11. Make a wish. Hopefully we get rich and can live a life of financial freedom. That's going to be it for today. We talked about the Steelers hiring Mike McCarthy, the chicanery going on in Buffalo. We came to the realization, I think, guys, we figured it out with our investigative journalism, that the reality is when you have a general manager who promoted himself to president of football operations who dropped the soy from his name, Brandon Soybean, well, they're going to be a dumpster fire. Too much estrogen in Buffalo. You got to stop frying your wings in the seed oils. The seed oils
are making you all sick in the head, and you can't then make proper decisions, so you make dumb fucking moves like firing Sean McDermott after 9 seasons. So obviously there is too much soy going on inside of Buffalo.
And we got to get the soy out of Buffalo. It ain't healthy for you guys up there. And then we're going to talk about the draft prospects that the Lions talked to at the Senior Bowl. But I got a little too chatting beardy with all of you. Imagine them apples. That's never happened before. Guys, I appreciate each and every one of you who took the time to hang out today, who stopped by, slapped like on the video. If you haven't, do that already for me. Share this around with all of your friends. It's the number one way to help our channel grow is to share this around. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring that notification bell. You'll be notified every single time we go live. Monday through Friday, 10 to 11 a.m., forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, because I will never be able to get out of the hamster wheel that I am perpetually stuck on, chasing my tail that will infinitely be just outside of my grasp. Have a good rest of your day, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. No 4 o'clock upload today. Gonna do the driveway. Gotta do a little running around. Need to run out to Lowe's or Home Depot. I gotta fix those fucking shower valve stems, dude. They're not looking forward to it. I hate doing plumbing. I fucking hate doing plumbing. I don't like doing plumbing. Guess what, guys? If I liked doing plumbing, I'd have become a fucking plumber. I fucking hate doing plumbing. All right, stay out of trouble. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Until then, bonga, bonga. Frig off.